Shoot.
And we're live.
Oh.
I'm excited about this. I'm excited. Welcome to the Let's Talk Fishing Podcast. Let's Talk Fishing Podcast, guys, brought to you by Crusher Lures, American Bass Club, and, of course, Grant Rods. With me tonight, I have a very special man, a guy from the great state of Florida. Florida is a great place to be from and to live in if you're going to be a bass fisherman. I mean, a lot more opportunities than I have around where I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So how you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. It's been really hot and humid here. So we're trying to stay as cool as possible.
Yeah. That's all I got to say about that. I was working outside. That's why I look like I look right now.
I'd love to have some of that upper northern weather right now that the boys are out on, but
Oh yeah, guys are fishing Lake Wacky. They're on their way to relax.
And the St. Lawrence River. The St. Lawrence is pumping them out right now too. So, I mean, you can't even beat Cayuga.
As it did a little bit earlier when the elites, the Century Club with smallmouth bass.
Yeah,
how
unreal.
How cool is that?
No,
and
I
also
think
that's a story right there, man.
Yeah.
I have interviewed his dad. I've talked to his dad way back when. His dad's a professional walleye fisherman from the great state of Wisconsin. Imagine that, a guy from Wisconsin knowing those boys are like me. They were raised on smallmouth bass.
It's pretty neat to see even, as we'll probably talk to later about how the Southern boys are coming up and doing so well on these smallmouth and dominating the field as we do, because the way that we think about smallmouth is totally different what when you live there thinking about the smallmouth. So we sort of dissect it a little bit better. You
do, but also Jay Zakurat is from Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, young and too, man. Just young.
He's young. He's gonna be a hammer, and absolutely one of my best friends, Dakota Ebert. He's on fire right now. That boy is.
Dakota was born and raised in the town I live in.
Yep.
Town of Watson,
in Louisiana.
Now he lives in Texas, which is a great place to live if you're going to be a bass fisherman.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think he lives like 5 minutes from Sam Rayburn.
Oh, good.
So he just bought a nice piece of property down there.
Probably in Hemp Hill then, which is halfway between Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn.
Yeah.
Great place to live. But you just you fished a tournament, an event on Saginaw Bay, didn't you?
Yep. I just got back from Saginaw Bay, Michigan, and I ended up in 15th there, which was really good. But the biggest thing about being in the top 15, it was so tight. I mean, first place, I was only less than 5 pounds away from the lead. So 15 spots, it was really, really tight. I mean, you really had to find the ones that were just a little bit fatter. A smallmouth were you just had to have good quality sack of smallmouth. That's all.
So were you actually in the bay, or were you fishing the river, the Saginaw River?
So I found something in practice on day one, way down in the river, because I was thinking it was going to take a mixed bag. In Saginaw Bay, you really needed large smallmouth, and to get to them, you had to run almost 80 miles. Actually like 40 miles out to get to some good ones. 80 miles if you really wanted to try and get a big sack.
So 40 miles, were you all the way up at Ascota, or were you down in?
We were up around the point of, Charity Island, past Charity Island, around the corner there. But I tried not to go that far because I knew I had some bad weather. So I actually stayed somewhat in the river, but I was in the mouth of the bay. I had found something so precise, so special. I sat on it, and I mean, I could come back to it every 2 hours. It would just reload with big ones. Wow. And every day I had probably anywhere from 12 to 15 pounds in 20 minutes. I mean, I just had it. It was just so fast. And what it was just a trough that was just at the mouth of the bay that had one side of it was like 18 foot. The other side was like 3 foot. And it had a few isolated boulders around it and a lot of bait. So that was the biggest key, is finding something that had a trough, some kind of moving water, a little bit of current and break. And where that break was, there was bait and there was big fish.
Wow. So how were you catching these fish?
So I'd pull up first thing in the morning, and I would spot lock. So the current was blowing back just a little bit. So I was always fishing off the back of my deck mainly. And I would spot lock, and the way the shelf went, it ran from 18 foot one side, they would be down there, and then they would just come up and feed. So first thing in the morning, I was using something anywhere. Well, let's just start off. If it was really bright and sunny, then a tube, a Ned rig, and then a little bit later, a drop shot was really working well. But a chatterbait first thing in the morning caught their eye. I would catch a quick limit on a chatterbait, and then they would quit on it. Then they would want something more like a crawfish, some kind of goby looking deal, even though there's not one them there. But they wanted that crawfish thing, a little small Ned rig or a tube is how I mainly caught my fish.
Wow. So it's just a little small thing, huh?
Yeah. Those TRDs, little tiny 3.5 inch TRDs was the thing for me.
Okay. The TRD, that's made by Z-Man.
Yeah, but the Z-Man TRDs with the Ned rig. I threw a 2-aught Ned head from Bruiser Baits with a Z-Man TRD.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I absolutely love it.
When I think about fishing for smallmouth bass in the Great Lakes, I think about a 4-inch tube,
Yep.
Now in the inland lakes, man, the Ned rigs do really well. But you just told me that those things work well.
Yeah. I would switch off from a 3.5 to a 4, but it depended. So once later in the day, I would catch a quick limit there. And normally it was, like I said, 12 to 15 pounds first thing in the morning. And then I would go get my big bite later in the day. I ran out to this first main island that had a lot of riprap on it. Sure. But there was one section on that riprap that I found that was probably about 200 yards long, where there was some isolated boulders out in 10 and 12 feet of water. And anywhere between 11 and 1 o'clock, I would always catch me a 5-pounder out there every day. Wow. So either I was cranking something really fast down the riprap, or I would see it on my forward-facing sonar.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, the game has changed with forward-facing sonar. You got to have a forward-facing sonar it's just unreal. I would see one, throw my little Ned rig out there, and she'd eat it. And 9 times out of 10, it was a 5-pounder. So,
well, that's what I like about smallmouth bass. I have caught so many more smallmouth bass sight fishing. Well, probably the biggest reason is because they like to live in clear water.
Yeah.
So, I spent my childhood wading up and down smallmouth bass streams in northern Illinois, chasing them. I learned how to catch them. My dad was a fisherman, and, he refused to wade with me, but, he would take me up to Wisconsin and we would fish smallmouth. So he taught me how to catch them. Back then the game was rooster tails,
Yeah.
Little spinners.
Rooster tails back in the day worked real well. They actually still do work real well. That's just like one of those secret of the trades of the past. So we still have them in our boxes. We still use them, but they broke it down now. What's that?
Us old guys remember the days of Panther Martin, Rebel Craws.
Yep.
Little hair jigs.
Well, that was what I was about to say. We went from those rooster tails to taking the blades off to just a hair jig. So now you have these little hair jigs that we use, and they work phenomenal. I mean, that's a big key player as well. And I actually caught a few in Saginaw with that. And now where I'm fixing to go, it's going to be a key player, I think, as well.
Where are you going next, Michael?
My next stop, I leave next Saturday on August 27th. We head to Sandusky Bay, Ohio for our 5th tour stop on the Npfl. And that's going to be fun.
There's a bag, huh? That's going to be a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's going to be a mixed bag. I think that if we have the right weather, which I know this is probably a lot of people, Sandusky Bay this time of month, the wind's going to be up. The weather's going to be horrible. If you look back in the past when the Elites was there, it was horrible. people lost units, people lost, troll motors. People were taking them off and putting them in their boxes just to keep them. It's going to be rough.
I mean, I started fishing, probably the mid 90s when I started following the professional walleye trail around as a writer. Guys lost boats. A great big guy named Pete Harsh fell out of his boat. He weighed 300 pounds. It took 3 of us. I was 25 years old at the time. I had to hold this guy, and there were 2 other guys trying to push him up, and because I was the youngest guy there, so I could, boy.
I didn't know that.
It can be ruthless, man. Of course, Saginaw Bay, you were just there.
Yeah, Saginaw Bay was. We had one foul day, but like I said, I had that one key spot. I literally, we launched in the river. It was a 40-minute idle out. It's a long idle, and then I never even got on plane. That's how close I was. I was in between the bay and the river, but I never even got on plane. Wow. Once I hit that bay, that was my spot.
Well, I talked to a guy. I can't even remember what his name was because I talked to so many people on this show. But he scored really well, and he never got out of the river. Yeah.
Well, Matt Massey is one of my travel partners, and he did real well. I mean, he was catching them just like I was catching them, but he went way down the river. And a lot of these guys were actually down, and they had one little specific spot, and all of them were in there together, and they were rolling chatterbaits and a couple of swim bait deals, and catching largemouth, and they were all good ones.
Yes, and also they were punching.
Yep. So,
which is something a guy like you would know how to do.
I do. I love picking up a big flipping stick. I probably own, I bet I own 5 or 6 different flipping sticks. So I'm a big puncher. And, if anybody's watching the Npfl later, during the end of October, our 6th stop will be going to Kissimmee. So you're definitely going to see a big rod in my hand.
Yeah, you're going to be punching at Kissimmee.
Yeah.
I have the same kind of stuff around here a lot. We probably have more cypress trees than you do, but we have the same water hyacinths or water lilies or whatever the heck.
Oh yeah.
And you can go down in southern Louisiana in the Chafalaya Basin, anywhere you run down the middle of one of those bayous and you see nothing on your forward or your side radars.
Yeah.
Radars, sonars,
side scan sonars. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was hot today. It just saps my head, man. Ever since I turned 50, I just cannot handle this heat anymore. But anyways, you see nothing. But then you start punching the hyacinths on the side.
Yeah.
And there's one. I've never seen anybody flip both a 5-pounder till I went punching the first time with a guy.
Come take a trip to Okeechobee with me. I'll show you some stuff.
But I'm sure if you fish like I started fishing largemouth bass when I was 4 years old with my dad. And up north, it's not usual to catch a 5-pound largemouth. It's just they're there, They're certainly not as common as they are in Kissimmee, or even around here where I live. They're a lot more common. But
yeah, you catch 5.5, anywhere from 5.5 and 7-pounders up north, and you're really got a quality bass on there.
I'm from Northern Illinois, and that's where my biggest bass ever was a wetlands project. It was just a hair over 7 pounds.
Nice.
And I've lived down here for years and fished a lot of these good waters and never caught one bigger than 7 yet. It's coming.
I've caught 3 over 10, and then but my biggest is a 10.6, and I had one recently that was, I didn't land her, but she was every bit of 13, 14 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was just about a month ago.
I have some trips planned to go up to Caddo Lake and the northern part of Toledo Bend, fish for bass with these guides. I'm gonna get my big one.
Yeah, you will.
Caddo Lake. Actually, the Ladies Bass Anglers Association was on Caddo this year, and a lady by the name of Sherry Jacks caught a 9.6 during the tournament.
That's nice.
And I told her during the tournament.
That's real nice.
I've heard a million stories of people catching fish like that, in practice. But during the tournament, that's something different.
Yeah, I haven't landed something really giant. A 7-pounder during a tournament is about the biggest I've caught during a tournament like that. But since I've been in the pro leagues, nothing major. But it happens, especially during practice.
Oh yeah.
But I'm super stoked to go out catching. My personal best is a 6'1" smallie up in the St. Lawrence River. So me being as in Florida, I get excited anytime I get on the water. I get in my Phoenix and I run my Mercury down up and down the road and up and down the river, and it's just love. But when you go up there and you're using forward facing sonars and you're running that clean, clear water, and it's just a whole new ball game for smallmouth, and I just can't wait, man. Sandusky Bay is going to be one to always remember, I'm sure.
Yeah, Lake Erie is just a special place.
Yeah, definitely one of the best in the world. I think to go place is Lake Erie. My to go place is the St. Lawrence, but that's what I love, that or Lake Champlain.
Mine would probably have to be Door County, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Never been there.
You keep fishing these tours, you will.
Yeah. One day.
Sooner or later, you will have a tournament there, and it's every bit as brutal as all the rest of the Great Lakes. But it's a little more. If you go a little bit further north, up the Door County Peninsula, it gets really, really chin clear.
Yeah.
And that presents its own problems, and also it's its own blessings too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that future over there. we should be going to Oklahoma. We're supposed to be going to Eufaula, Oklahoma next year, so that'll be the furthest I've ever been west.
That'll be fun. I've never been there.
Neither have I. I'm excited about going to Texas, though.
Oh yeah. I fished several lakes in Texas. That's fun. That is fun. So, wow, that was quite a story you told about the. I'm still thinking about this area you were fishing in.
Saginaw.
Saginaw. That's.
Like it wasn't most. What was so crazy about it is there was a couple other details with it. One, it was in plain view. Anyone could have been there. No one ever really tried to fish it. It had, like I said, it was probably about 18 foot wide. One side of it was 18 foot deep. There was a lot of bait, but there was a lot of drum in there, and there was a lot of largemouth and smallmouth. But I would catch my smallmouth very first thing in the morning, and then very late in the evening. Right before I go in, I would stop again, and I'd catch a good quality smallmouth. But I think that was due to the high rise of the sun. That's when they like to pull up, and that's when they eat, So, and I would always catch them on a tube. There was a little bit of grass, a lot of gravel, and like 3 isolated boulders there that held them there. It just clicked. Yeah.
Wow, wow.
It was pretty neat. No one ever found it. I mean, it was a few people said they practiced there, but they never caught anything. But I mean, I probably caught 40 to 50 fish there a day.
So you were there fishing the National Professional Fishing League.
Yep.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about the National Professional Fishing League? Well,
the National Professional Fishing League is the newest league out. It's a real calm collective. It's a great organization. There's a lot of great guys in there. Patrick Walters fishes it, and we got a lot of big names like
Rick Langendorfer.
Well, Rick Langender, yeah. Rick Mitchell, Rob Roboleski, Jeff Fitz, Matt Massey. Matt almost won one in Watts Bar not too long ago. That was a really good one. He caught a huge fish there. But the National Professional Fishing Leagues, it's new. A lot of people don't know everything it's about, but they have a really good organization going. I think that they have the right quality of what they're wanting to excel to. It's just baby steps. They had a little hiccup, but at the first year, but they're back on track. We got some new sponsors. We got really good people backing it up. The quality of guys are excellent, and the way they run things is really good. The owners are really good. There's 3 of them, but they're on top of stuff. I enjoy it. I like the way they go. But they're just getting their feet in the water. So it's just like anything else getting started, takes a little time and effort. And I think this next year is going to prove to everybody that it's well worth having out there. So
does Corey Null still fish that?
I believe so.
Okay.
I do believe so.
one of the up and coming tournament trails that I'm excited about is the American Bass Club.
Yes. Yeah. I actually have a little bit of help in that one. I'm really looking forward to the American Bass Club. I know the owner real well. He's created something very special. I think it's the biggest it's awesome to know that there's finally a national team trail out there that's professional. It allows people like you and me or you and your buddy to go and you can't get away that many times, but you get to go out there and put your team efforts together. And I mean, who wouldn't want to go fish for $100,000? I mean, that's awesome. Top 40 qualified to the national championship for $250,000. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And guys, if you want more information about this, I have a crawler at the bottom of this, AmericanBassClub.com. The one I'm going to be watching is the Central Qualifier, which is at Lake Cumberland in Burnside, Kentucky. That's going to be September 24th through the 25th of 2022.
Yep. We put that together, and unfortunately, we actually put it together on the wrong date as to, there was a poker run with really big boats rolling through, and we had to change the date on that. But, it's going to be set up good. It's still going to be on fire. I think it's going to take 18 pounds a day to win, something like that. But,
well, geez, Cumberland in the fall. I mean,
who wouldn't want to go in November? I love Cumberland in November. I'm actually from right there, north of Cumberland.
Now?
What's that?
It's going to be in November now?
Yeah. No. It's going to be in September. You got the dates right.
September 24th. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it in November.
Okay.
I like it in November.
I thought I had misquoted that.
No, when they start dropping that water back down to full. Oh.
Yeah. Now, was that a mix of smallmouth, largemouth, and spots?
Yes. Yeah. But I've like in that time of year, I think it's going to be a mixture. I mean, you could win it either way. There's a lot of big largemouth, and then there's some really hefty smallmouth. So I really think that a big hefty smallmouth bag will win it, but you never know.
We have a question here for you, Mike.
Okay.
It's from Catt and Rob, who's a great fan of the show. He says, what has been your favorite lake? Hey, what has been your favorite lake on the Npfl tour this year so far?
Oh, well, I've liked them all so far, except we had a really bad fall in Lake Cumberland. Lake Cumberland set us back a few days. We only got to fish one day. The weather was horrible, but I've liked them all. But to be honest with you, I'm a big smallmouth guy. I love catching smallmouth fish. I live in Florida. I chase these giant largemouth everywhere. But when I can go catch a brown fish, it's just like my head clicks with them. I understand them. So I would honestly say probably Saginaw Bay. It still has hands down. Even though I did really good there, it's still just my thing. I love chasing brown fish. So Saginaw Bay would probably been my go-to lake so far.
Okay, he said that he's fishing creek on Cumberland in November. I don't know. You fish creeks on Cumberland?
I do. A lot of the creeks in Lake Cumberland will be drawn down at a certain time. I don't know exactly when they'll go to full pool or half pool. But I would definitely still focus on points and anywhere there's a current break at that time, because they're going to be drawing water. So the nose of those smallmouth will be sitting right there. They're a machine at eating fish. So I would definitely I'd have a jig in my hand because we can't throw no A-rigs or nothing like that. So I'd probably have a jig or a rock crawler.
A rock crawler, huh? Okay.
Yes. Rock crawlers are dynamite there. My favorite color, rock crawler, red bug.
Red bug.
Yes.
Is that for the spring or?
No, just for fall. I mean, it would work in the spring, but fall. Is he talking about the spring?
No, he said November.
Yeah, fall, definitely red bug. That's my favorite.
So when you're down there in Florida chasing giant largemouth,
yep,
what is your confidence bait?
Depending on where I'm at, if I'm on the St. Johns River, where it is like 10 minutes down the road, a flipping stick's always going to be on the deck. There's if you have one thing to punch, then I would punch it, because there's probably a dynamite fish underneath it. Carolina rig in the St. Johns River is really big because we have a lot of shell bars where the current breaks are on these outgoing tides, and then the big fish will load up on them really good. And we have hundreds of shell bars, but there's specific ones that do hold good drop-off shell bars that will hold bigger fish. Now, if I was going down to like Okeechobee or something, top water, a frog, frogs work buzz bait and a spook, but a flipping stick would probably be my hand.
Now, let me ask you this: with those spooks, just like with buzz baits, isn't that like ringing the dinner bell for every alligator in the area?
Yeah, you do. You definitely catch some, and because some of them you just don't see them. You'll just pick, because you want to put them things in places that you can't get them, and you put them things back in there, and you rolling that buzz bait out there, and that gator will eat it. But you just shake them off if you can, and
those three footers are so fast.
They are super fast. They'll run it down real fast.
I've seen those things. I swear some of them can walk on water.
I'll tell you a tip on those little ones. Those little ones, if they eat your bait, don't yank. Just give them a second. They'll spit it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can just like pull it a little bit and then it'll come out of their mouth. But if it's if you got like a spook or something, yeah, you're going to hook him. There's no way getting around that. Sometimes you'll lose your frogs. They'll bite them off and cut them off, but
they're so fast and they're so mean. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. Well, they're kind of like the bear north, you just got to respect them. You got to respect them, but they're nothing. As long as you're not in the water, I don't worry about them.
No, they won't bother you though. I've never had an alligator even approach me before. I've heard a lot of people that they will, but that's back in like creeks and canals where people live and they feed them. Then they think that you're just one of them, and they'll come up to you. But you just slap the water, they'll go away.
They usually do. I know when I do my work, a lot of times I'm in kayaks on the bayous, and they'll come right up to us. They're just curious about what the heck we are.
Well, down here, our curious animal is a manatee, so the manatees will come up and check you out.
Wow, the most boring animal alive, huh?
Yeah,
I saw those,
but they're a pretty neat animal though.
My dad.
But we lost a lot this year because when Hurricane Matthews came back, or it came through a few years ago, it wiped our grass out. We didn't have any grass whatsoever. And I ain't trying to nationally put something out there, but a little something's happening now. So hopefully for goodness, we'll have our river back the way it was soon.
That's good. That's great, man.
Yeah.
I know my dad took me over there to watch the manatees one time, and I'm like, what are we doing, man? I want to go fishing.
That's funny.
The Harris Lake chain is in your backyard, and you want to show me manatees? Come on.
Yeah.
Even when I was 4, I would have wanted to go fishing,
I love the Harris chain. Harris chain is one of my favorite lakes to go to as well. That and Toho.
My dad lived right on it.
Yeah, Harris chain's got a lot of options. You can do almost anything you want out there. You can Carolina rig, you can top water, you can frog, flip, spinner bait.
A lot of lipless crankbaits.
Yes. Yeah, big time. Lipless crankbaits you got to have one of those on your deck at all times too.
I would have a lipless crankbait there. Then also I would Wacky rig. And I found out real quick, not.
Yeah.
My equipment just wasn't big enough to pull in a big Florida largemouth.
A Wacky rig, I don't think I got 2 of them sitting right here beside me. I just literally, I can't go anywhere without a Wacky rig. It just works everywhere. It's the one thing that we keep saying, what would we have tied on? What would we have tied on? A Wacky rig would definitely be one of them. I mean, you can skip it under a dock. You can put it up against a piece of wood, a pad, anywhere. The fish will eat it.
Yeah, I've caught fish all over the United States with that. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've caught fish from 7 pounds down to 7 ounces.
Yeah, about anything will eat it too, though.
Yeah, I've caught pike on them. I've caught walleyes, even a bluegill one time.
You know, I went to Lake Hartwell this year. We had Hartwell as our second stop on tour, and that was really enjoyable. I've never been there. I've always wanted to go there. I pre-fished there a couple times, and that was about everything you did was nothing but a Wacky rig. You
really?
could just, yeah, Wacky rig. You could just pitch it anywhere, and they would eat it.
Wow.
It was fun.
And you know, my favorite Wacky rig, and I'm not sponsored by these people, but it's actually the 48 by Missile Baits.
Oh, nice. Yeah, 48 is good. I'm not sponsored by them either, but I don't down what they got.
It's revolutionary.
Yeah, I honestly, 9 times out of 10, I have a Bruiser Stick on.
Okay.
Made by Bruiser Baits. Steve Dial is one of my main sponsors. I love that guy to death. He's been, you know, Brandon McMillan's sponsored by him. There's a handful of people, you know, and Bruiser Baits has just been one of those guys who just knows what he's building when he builds it. If you could, I can't even compare it. I'm not going to try and compare it, but it's just one of those baits you can just grab, go, and it'll catch fish. Any of his baits. He's got the Avengers, the Mac Daddy crawls, Mac crawls, the Intruders. Those are all great flipping baits, and I'm naming them off because I use them so good. So, but his Gill Reaper lure sticks, he does custom baits and custom lures like that, and it's pretty good. But now we're fixing to get into jerk baits. Well, we actually are getting in jerk baits and crank baits now. So,
yeah, Bruiser Baits has a Ned head.
Yep. Yeah,
Hard
we got
baits.
Ned heads. We got the McMinnow's really good for a drop shot. I mean, flat out tungstens are one of mine as well. And you know, everything they have right there is just, he's got special quality to it. So
what was this thing you were talking about? I'm trying to find a picture of it.
what's that? The Bruiser Stick?
No, it's called the Bruiser Stick. Okay.
It's just like a Cinco, but a Cinco is, you know, made by Gary Yamamoto. So you got the Ocho, which is Strike King, and you got the Bruiser Stick. Yep.
I'm looking at, they also have the Big Nasty, the McMinnows.
Oh yeah.
Worms.
Check out the Whiplash. The Whiplash is something for like the Everglades, because see, when you get down to the Everglades, you got nothing but snakes everywhere. You got a lot of pythons and stuff down there, and all these baby snakes is what these fish are eating now.
18.5 inch Glades Beast.
Yeah.
My goodness, 18.5 inches long.
And they will eat it up.
What do you put that on?
You know, if I have thrown it, I'm not going to say I haven't, but I do have them. I have thrown it. I would throw it on like a 5/0, 6/0 hook, but you know, you really don't even need all that. It is a huge worm. Again, you're thinking a snake, and a lot of these fish eat head first. So they're going to eat the head of that snake first before they get anything. But it's just like anything else. You throw them big zoom worms or them 12-inch old monsters or the Big Nasty, and you just got to let them eat it for a minute. You know, let them have it. Let them run with it just for a minute, and then just set the hook on them. They got it.
I've used a lot of 10-inch long ribbon tails and 10-inch long straight worms. So yeah, I know you have to let those things take it.
Yeah.
Well, you only have, what I would tell people, particularly when I was guiding, the only fish you have to let take them are the ones that you want to actually bring in the boat.
Right.
You know, if you don't let them take them, just I don't even know why we're here.
Absolutely.
Because I come here to catch fish. That's what I would tell my guide clients, you know. I'll hook into them for you gladly. That's the part I like. Feeling the initial bump.
Yes. Yes, sir.
I said the rest of it's just stressful.
But see, and a lot of it, and this goes both ways. A lot of the northern people, northern guys, northern anglers, ladies and men, they want to come down and do this flipping stuff and throw these big worms and catch these big bass. But me, I would rather, you know, crank back the little handle on my spinning reel and catch these monster brownies.
Oh, yeah.
But it goes both ways, you know, and it's crazy to think that. You come down here and throw these giant baits, and then you go up there and you throw these little baits.
Yes. Smallmouth bass. Okay, what is your Cajun Rob has another question. He says, what's your favorite wacky rig setup and any tips for that setup?
Okay. Good question. I would, so I like to throw, I like a 6'10" medium light action. I do like a 7'2" medium heavy, depends on where I'm at. But my setup on the reels as well would have to be like, I don't throw anything over 20-pound test braid. And then I'll do like a 10-foot leader anywhere down in Florida. It's sort of different because I need a little bit thicker line because you get around a lot of barnacles. So you don't want to break off. And the more north you go, I go to like 6-pound test, Tatsusu or Invisex. I'm a big Seagar fan, so all my line is Seagar. But 20-pound test braid to 10-pound test, I probably wouldn't go no more than 10-pound test floor leader to a 2-aught owner jungle. I think it's that new wacky rig hook. It's a weedless. It's sick. It is the best hook I think I've ever used in my life. But it's made by owner. Again, I'm not sponsored by them.
Vector just came out with a really nice wacky rig hook too.
Who is it?
Vector Hooks. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of that too, and they're sticky.
I really like that, and I'm not sponsored by them either. You know, I work with them a lot. I know most of their top pro staffs. In fact, Cajun Rob is one of their top pro staff guys. I know the owner, you know, but there's too many great companies out there to choose one.
Right. So, but that owner hook, that new owner jungle hook, it's a weedless one. It's got 2 little metal, you know. Actually, it's like titanium, I think it is, weedless guards, and it's super sharp. And I'll do that with an Ocho or a Bruiser Stick or something with an O-ring on it. That's definitely would be my go-to setup.
I recently did a podcast with Derek Hudnall, the Elite Pro.
Yes.
And he broke down wacky rigging better than anybody else I've had on. And he just started going on and on about it. And, well, it's kind of my fault because that's my favorite way to fish. But, I mean, I've never heard anybody break it down so precisely.
Well, I wasn't ready to break it down precisely, but I like a double uni knot when I tie my braid and my Florida. I do a double uni knot. A lot of people don't like that because they say that it has been broken and they broke it before. I have complete like I never think it'll break ever. A lot of guys tie that FG knot, and I think it's too time consuming. But that is another knot that just will not break.
Well, if you have the luxury of having 4 really good wacky rigging rods that you can rig up the night before,
right?
I'll tie the FG knot. But since I don't fish tournaments anymore, I really don't care. I'll just sit there in a boat and just have fun tying knots, you know. Yeah.
FG knot now. I'll do that right before the tournament starts, you know, but it just depends on if I have time or not, you know. I think a double uni knot is just as good. I have so much confidence in that knot, so it's never done me wrong.
I can really see where you would have confidence in that. I've only tied it a few times, but every time I tied it, and pulling it tight. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And my eyes are so bad anymore. I mean, I have to tie the night before.
And see, a lot of people when they go to tying those things, they don't think about the stretch. So when you're tying those knots together, when you're putting braid on the fluoro, you don't want to cinch it down. You know, you wet both sides and pull them to the tight and then leave it alone. Cut your ends off. Once it's tight, just leave it alone, because your first hook set's going to be that initiation of cinching. So if you've already took that cinch away, now you're already doing the second part where it could break. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's happened. Yeah. That's why I went to tying direct with braid, because, you know, I'm down here where there is no clear water down here.
Right.
It's all tan and stained, too muddy, you know, and muddy is pretty much part of the norm, you know, probably just like where you live.
And that's a little different about Florida, because Florida has a lot of clear water because we're full of springs. We have springs everywhere. You be You'll be running dirty, 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 and all of a sudden just a wall. It will be a split wall of nothing but dirty and clear. It's crazy.
I would become obsessed with that area. I wouldn't stop fishing there until I caught something.
And you know what's cool about that is because they'll sit in that dark water, and you'll roll something through that clean water into that dark water, and they'll eat it.
That's why I said I would become obsessed with that. I would pull every fish out of that area that was there. I would look. This is the coolest thing possibly I have ever seen.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't even talk right there. Man, I just a couple of times in my life when I run across something like that, it's just something new.
Yeah, we have a lake down here in Florida called Lake Russo. And just up through Lake Russo, you run up the river channel and you'll come into Rainbow River. And Rainbow River is just slap full of giant bass. But you can't catch any of them hardly. They won't eat nothing. Ice, clean, clear, and they won't touch nothing.
I was the Harris chain, you know. Jay, my dad said, Jay, there are more 10-pounders in this. Oh, man, I can't wait to get down there, man. We go out and we fished for 4 hours. We fished hard, and I caught 2 3-pounders. And Dad's like, I want to fish the crappies again. Next day, I went out fishing with his friend. We caught a couple of 5-pounders, but you know, Dad.
We got a few trophy lakes down here as well.
What would you consider a trophy lake?
We have a couple of trophy lakes. There's one that's, you know, you hear JT Kinney talking about it all the time. He lives right there in Palm Bay, Florida. It's Lake Fellsmere. And you have what they call Lake is Stick Marsh and Farm 13. And now they just opened up Fellsmere Grade, which is right next to it. And you can't keep any bass.
Nice.
But there's absolute giants all in this place.
And do they only allow so many boats on it?
There is. At first, it was like once you filled the ramp, that was it. But now they've opened up an extra parking across the road, so numerous people. Like I've been there, and there'd be 100 boats there, and I would only see 5 of them. It fishes so big, it's like a jungle. So you just don't see many people when you're out there. Now there's a lot of people there, but you just don't see many. Because it just fishes so big.
And one other thing I could not believe about Florida, all the people who are using shiners.
Yeah.
Dude, this is like catfishing, you know, you just sit there.
Yeah. Shiners is a big thing. You know, you throw a golden shiner out and you'll catch a giant. You'll catch multiple bass, and you could throw an artificial through there and they won't eat it.
That's what my dad kept telling me. He goes, let me get us a guide, and we'll go out here and you'll get your 10-pounder.
Oh yeah.
It's not about catching a 10-pounder, Dad. It's about catching a 10-pounder doing the right thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't downgrade the fact that people want to come down and use a live bait to catch a giant fish, but the thrill of catching it, going out with artificial bait, putting your time in, and working hard to catch that fish, it means so much more.
And that's what I was just about ready to say. You know, I don't have anything against people using artificial.
Yeah, because there's people that are locked away in offices every single day. They can't get out. They want to go, but they can't. And then they finally get that business trip or a guided fishing trip that his buddy bought or something like that. And, they get down there and go fishing. So, I see it. I
have nothing against that. It's just, I guess I'm just too attention deficit. I just cannot sit there and watch. Now, fishing for crappies, I can watch a float, but not
float a little minnow. Absolutely.
Not for that. It's just I've spent, like you said, I've spent too many years trying to perfect how to work these lures, and that's where it's at for me. Initial thump knows that I put something together.
Yeah.
And, I put something together and it's a feel of victory.
Just to talk about the American Bass Club again, just a little bit. I want to really touch that a little bit because we need people to look into that. This thing's going to go big. And, you know, it's a new age era thing that's going to happen. And I'm super excited for this. You know, I've always wanted a competition where you could be with your best friend, someone that you know fishes just as hard as you do. And the way they have it set up, you know, a lot of I just want to touch this one subject with it. As a lot of people think that the scaling system or the cheating ways that people do, unfortunately, that is horrible, but they do it out there. There's no way this is going to happen. I mean, if you did, it's not worth trying for. So me being part of this organization, of knowing what's behind it, if I could just put it out for people to understand, you know, that it's not going to happen. People aren't going to cheat, because the reward of that is not going to be good. You know, you're not going to go and get away with it. Their system of methods are beyond of passing. So just be fair, have fun, get your buddy. That's what it's built for, is to get that guy that you know that you guys are so good enough to come and fish and become and win money and be a professional. It's going to be great.
I'm really excited about seeing how this works. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. And Cumberland's going to be the first one. So yes, everybody's looking forward to that. And I think that's that stump. So once Cumberland's done, they're all going to see where it ends up, you know, and then they'll jump and everything's going to be great. I can't wait for the St. Lawrence one. St. Lawrence is going to be good.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Another smallmouth bass shootout.
I was wanting to fish that one, but I'm only going to fish the Lake Okeechobee one.
Okay.
So I'm already signed up for that, and I'll be down there fishing that one in November.
Well, I'll be following that. Do you have any shout outs you'd like to do? Any thank yous to any companies? Individuals?
Oh man, you know, there's so many. I mean, I don't have so many, but I have so many thank yous for a lot of things. And Steve Dial with Bruiser Baits is one of them. Jason Stadnick with Gill Reaper Lures has helped me throughout the year. He makes some really, really fine baits. Arc Rods, Louis Zhang is the owner of Arc Rods, and Arc has stood behind me 100%. I came over to them last year. I probably have 40 to 50 rods now, and every one of them's built to exactly what you want to do. You want a Carolina rig rod? He's got a rod exactly for a Carolina rig rod, you know, and he's got several series. You know, you got the Cobb series, which is good, Lancaster, or not Lancaster, but the Cobb series, the Invoker Pros, the Reinforcers, the Randall Tharp series. Those are really good. And now we just came out with the new reels. So the reels are going to be released at the end of September. So everybody can start ordering them in October, which are the G series reels. They're amazing reels. I have one right here I wanted to show. So it's a really, really nice reel. It's really fine. It's got a really nice braking system in it. It's actually one of patent, so it's not even on the market. This is a G5. So the G5, there's a G7 and a G3, and each one of them are made for different things. I mean, one has an anti-brake system. The G5 and the G7 have the floating brake system, which is, it's really unreal what he's done and how he's just, you know, patent something so great. So
what kind of gear race are you talking about?
So right now we have 3. So you have a 5-4, a 6-4, and a 7-1.
Very good.
No, actually, I take that back. We have an 8-1.
Okay. And what would you use the 8-1 for? Is that going to be?
Man, I'm a big flipper, so
that's what I said.
I'm a big flipping stick guy. I like speed. You know, I would throw it on a flipping stick, or I would use it even for, you know, ripping back big crankbaits real fast on some graphite rods or some glass rods, you know.
Sure.
Getting that slow 6-4, whatever.
Sure. Very good.
But my high-speed end reels are normally for flipping. I like it, something to get it back real fast to the boat.
And Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I would use it for. And the 5-point something, I use those for like square bills.
Right.
Or lipless crankbaits, even if I.
So I think that's going to be another player. Sandusky is a square bill, or maybe some offshore Carolina rigging stuff. So I don't know. I can't wait to get there and just pick it apart and dissect it and figure out how it's going to play out. So I just know I want 18 to 20 pounds a day. That's what my goal is.
I wish you the best of luck. I'm going to be watching you, Mike. So anyways, if you don't have any more shout outs.
Actually, I want to shout out one more thing. Sasquatch Jigs. Sasquatch Jigs is amazing. He does so much more for me as well. Really great guy. Great owners in there. They make a great product. It's the jig itself is really good. I've caught numerous fish this year on it, and the swim jig, football head, all of it. It's been really good and predominant for me this year. So I want to give a big shout out to Sasquatch Jigs as well. Y'all go check them out.
Sasquatch Jigs, folks. And Mike, I'd like to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and to our listeners here.
No problem.
Let's Talk Video podcast. And again, please accept my most humble apology for the snafu and getting you here.
That's okay. That's okay. You'll see me out there on the Npfl, and next year I got a couple more changes coming to me. I've got a couple new sponsors, so I can't wait to announce them at the end of the year. And I'm either going to take a new route or I'm going to be pushing a couple more distances with a different, adding another league in. So look for that. It's gonna be cool.
Either way, it's going to be interesting to watch what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to the Let's Talk Fishing Video Podcast. Let's Fishing Video Podcast, guys. Brought to you by Crusher Lures, the American Bass Club, and of course, Grant Rods. And once again, I want to thank Michael Catt for taking time out of his schedule to come and talk to you guys. Mike, please don't leave. I'm going to end the podcast now.
Okay.